This recording, I'm going to look at sedation and the need for that in a simple network with loops. Here's our network. We have an input that feeds two other nodes here. Each of these nodes feed all of the nodes in this, what I call a loop. I call it a loop because this module 2 feeds module 3 feeds module 4 loops back. So the inputs move from 2 to 3 to 4 back to 2 in a loop. So let's first look at this update stuff, and I'm going to drop all the sedation stuff down to 0. And we're going to watch these activations. So the activations will slowly build, and what we'll see, because it's a loop, is that these nodes will feed these nodes, these nodes will feed these nodes, and they'll get a kind of a feedback loop, and they'll all become very active and on. So this is what we don't want, of course. So we can use this sedation excitement stuff. Let's see if I can clear these off and get this going again. It's hard to clear off these loops sometimes. Okay, so one thing we can do is we can do inhibition in areas. So each one of these nodes inhibits the nodes around it. So we can turn that on and have this run. And then see what that does. So we can see now that as the nodes get active, they actually inhibit the nodes around them, but we still get a pretty significant feedback build up here as the activations become more and more active as the activations go from one node to the other, flowing here. But this sort of inhibition will limit the growth in some areas, so that's helpful. We still see, though, that eventually the nodes become very active. We can right now let me blow this up. The inhibition zone is only 1/10 of it, so each node is only inhibiting nodes right around it. It's kind of immediate neighbors. But even if it were a larger inhibition area, you still will get zones of inhibitions and excitations here. So this doesn't always work. Do what we want. We kind of keep this on if we want. Now let's look at sedation in that path. So there's a set of sedation nodes down here. Let me expand one of these. So these are the sedation nodes here. Right. Each of them is, every node in the block is connected to each of the sedation nodes, and each of the sedation nodes is connected to every block here. The connections are somewhat random in weight size, but all in the same neighborhood. And this excite value will determine when these nodes get activated. So that this controls an overall weight factor on the connections from these nodes down here. So as these nodes fire, they will tend to activate these sedate nodes. In fact, up here where these are firing, you see the sedate nodes are firing quite a bit. I'm going to drop this thing down, the inhibition thing down for a while. So as we build up more activations here, these will tend to activate more of the sedation nodes. And again, the level here, if this is a lower value, you need more nodes, a higher percentage of nodes active to activate the sedation nodes. If this is higher, even 1 or 2 of the sedation nodes, of the nodes active in the block can activate all sedation nodes. So you can control how easily these sedation nodes are activated by the sedation, the connection here to here. Now the inhibition is the connection from the sedation nodes here. Right now it's set to 0, the factor, so there's no inhibition going from the sedation nodes here. But if I increase this and then do some updates, anytime these nodes are active, they'll inhibit every node here, and so as long as these are active, they'll drive these nodes, inhibit them significantly. With a lot of inhibitions, you'll get some cycles. So now we inhibited all the nodes, but now all the sedation nodes are now off because none of the nodes here are active. And then we'll see some of the nodes slowly creeping back as activations build back into this network after that strong inhibition. And at some point, these will level off and start activating some of the sedation nodes again. So we're beginning to see some activations here, still not very much. But again, the activations of these nodes here, and we've got a buildup of activations that activated the sedation nodes and built up. Right now the feedback is a little too strong in that as soon as these nodes get active, they really clamp down and highly inhibit these nodes. So what I really want, probably a less activation here, so that these activations can build, and then they can activate this, and these will inhibit these, but not that as strongly, not clamp down on them too much and overcompensate, so that we always will have some activation here, driving some activation in the sedation area. And again, these two values will control that. Really, you're looking at what is the average activation from the nodes to the sedation nodes, and what is the weight factor from the sedation nodes here. And again, even though we've had this running, I didn't have much inhibition, and so even though the sedation nodes are active, we still built feedback here because we didn't have this strong enough, the inhibitions.